determined to see her orders through, but she did not know then that she would risk her life for the next 4 years to achieve her mission. Rose had a reputation for being overly serious and too blunt for her own good, but her unflappability had proven useful in the war. She had learned to play the role of a nobody to the Nazis, not important enough to notice, not congenial enough to be flirted with, and too grave to be easily friends with. Unlike the other women who worked in the French museums, she didn't bother much with her looks. Her most defining accessory was her round spectacles, which gave her an air of erudition. Although it was in vogue to wear one's tresses in soft waves just above the shoulder, Rose simply brushed her brunette locks to the side and pulled them back in a neat bun. She left her eyebrows natural and mildly unkempt, unlike those popularized by cinema stars like Arletty and Danielle Derrieux, who wore them razor-thin and drawn in darkly with pencil. Sartorially, Rose did her best to fit in. Though she would have much preferred to wear pants, she donned feminine, ankle-length dresses and blended in with the rest of the women in Paris, modest, traditional, and discreet. Still, the Germans had accused Rose of everything in their arsenal: sabotage, theft, and signaling to the enemy. They subjected her to invasive interrogations and searches, and even expelled her from the museum on several occasions. But she talked her way back in every time, explaining calmly that she was just a lowly employee of the French National Museums who oversaw the building's maintenance and the remaining art collection. In reality, she was one of the most well-educated art historians in France, and nearly every one of the German accusations had been true. Rose was also concealing another dangerous secret. She had been living for almost a decade with the love of her life, Joyce Here, a British citizen who worked for the U.S. Embassy. Not only was her partner considered an enemy alien by the Nazis, but homosexuality was codified under Vichy French law as an unnatural act. Any misstep could lead to imprisonment, deportation, or worse for both Rose and Joyce. The Jeu de Paume was Rose's first curatorial job after a decade of studies that took her all the way from her small countryside village in eastern France to Paris, the nation's epicenter of fine art, and she felt personally responsible for the museum's fate. Although it was not as prestigious as the Louvre, the Jeu de Paume had become a highly respected museum in the 7 years Rose had worked there, in no small part due to her industriousness. It was renowned for its exhibitions on international and modern art, as well as for its fine permanent collection. It sat proudly on an elevated terrace in the Tuileries Garden in the heart of Paris, at the corner of the Place de la Concorde and Rue de Rivoli. The long rectangular building, designed like a Grecian temple, was built originally for court tennis during the reign of Napoleon III. Across the Tuileries was the Louvre. Now, the Jeu de Paume faced potential destruction, unwittingly situated at the center of the climactic final battle for Paris. The last of the German staffers in the Einsatzstab Reichsleiter Rosenberg, the Reichsleiter Rosenberg Task Force, had abandoned the museum in recent days as the formidable Allied forces advanced toward Paris. Rose and 2 French guards were the only people left inside the museum. Rose was ready to sacrifice her life to protect what was left of the museum's permanent collection: paintings and sculptures by the likes of Salvador Dali, Frida Kahlo, Vasily Kandinsky, Max Beckmann, Giorgio de Chirico, and many others. She and the guards would sleep on straw mattresses in the makeshift bomb shelter of the museum until it was all over, one way or another. But sleep was the last thing on Rose's mind. She watched from the tiny opening in the window as German soldiers on the Rue de Rivoli, the grand street that runs alongside the Jeu de Paume, shouted orders into an abyss of chaos. As night fell, tanks and military vehicles raced back and forth, readying for their last stand. Machine gun fire popped all around the museum.
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.